Welcome to Sports Xtra, your premium online sports show. My name is Ruimbo Chakreka. I'm your host. Today I've got an interesting guest and I'm going to introduce him just a little bit later. Well, coming up on the show, we are going to be talking rugby. The Sables are going to be playing their quarterfinal match in the Rugby Africa Cup, which is doubling as the 2023 Rugby World Cup qualifiers, and they'll be taking on Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, the Elephants. Would we see an upset, or can the Sables proceed further in the competition? We'll talk about that. Interprovincial hockey trials for under 16 and under 18 girls was held over the weekend, and believe me, it wasn't only chilly at the St. John's AstroTurf, but it was entertaining hockey as well. And then of course we talk about cricket. England with a new lease of life under their new captain Ben Stokes, and of course their thoroughly entertaining, well, when he was playing, coach Brendan McCullum. Is it the effect that he has brought on? We'll be discussing a whole lot more about that. So stay locked on as we bring you all that sporting action and more. Well, to introduce my guest today, it is Willow. Now, Willow is an avid cricket fan, and we always talk about cricket stories, but he's also a sports journalist as well. So, Willow, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ruimbo.
All right, great to have you. So let's start off with the first particular story right now. The Sables have definitely been dominating the newspapers, social media handles, and so on. And they beat Netherlands 30 points to 7 in a match which was their first test match in 33 years played in Europe. And of course, Netherlands is ranked much higher. That was definitely an important victory.
Yeah, it was a good victory, and it's a morale booster since we are going to the World Cup qualifiers and all. If we also take into consideration how the Goshawks performed down south, it was a lackluster performance. So coming back to Europe in 30-something years, and taking such a good victory against a higher ranked team, I think it does good for them.
Oh yeah, it definitely does add a little bit of confidence. Others may debate as to whether the performance was great or not, which is another thing. But that set aside, we're now taking on Cote d'Ivoire, and Cote d'Ivoire has got a couple of surprises for us, eh?
Yeah, there has been talk of the Elephants bringing back the foreign contingent, which is playing in France. So they're trying to remodernize their game. They're trying to rejuvenate their team, and it's not going to be an easy stroll in the park for the Sables, because everyone believes the Sables are going to win. But we have to work hard for that one. I believe it's a tough test for us.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a tough test, and when we also begin to preview the fact that we meet Cote d'Ivoire, but as we go into the semi-finals, it is the age-old match that we haven't just been able to get past, and that's Namibia. They are playing Burkina Faso in the quarterfinals, but with the way that we hammered Burkina Faso here at home, you kind of feel that will be a walk in the park for them. How important do you think this victory against the Netherlands was in order to prepare us mentally for Namibia? Because there are only 4 places in between Netherlands and Namibia in terms of ranking.
It was a big moral booster, like I said before, and it means that the boys can believe that rankings are just numbers, and you can break them at any time. Let's go back, I think, earlier in the year when Cote d'Ivoire thrashed Namibia in a surprise test. Everyone was surprised because they're forced to reckon with in Africa. So we have to believe. It's all about belief that we can do it and we can go further. So I think our hopes obviously will be on another shocker from Burkina Faso, so that it makes it easier for us to pass through. But it's going to be a tough one for us.
Oh yeah, and of course a couple of players are going to be added to the Sable setup. Tapiwa Mafura is coming through from a wonderful victory in the Currie Cup with Airlink Pumas. He was a very instrumental part in terms of getting that, that victory for the Pumas, and many have said, I think we found our fullback, but we've got a number of problems because we currently don't have a flyer. Our kicking game was quite off against Netherlands, and those are the points that you need, especially when you're playing high-stakes games such as the Rugby Africa Cup.
You know, the kicking game has been a problem even locally. I think the previous week we had the tournament by Old Georgians.
Yeah.
Yes, when we saw our Sports Club versus Old Georgians, the game was tight. It was a 21-19 point, I think. Then I think Harare Sports Club got a penalty. Kicking is always the easiest way out, but they chose to go for a tap and go because they fear that they are not good kickers of the game. So I think as a country we need to work on that one because it's becoming an Achilles heel for us.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. And all we do hope for is that the Sables will be able to get past Cote d'Ivoire, proceed as far possible in the tournament. Well, they need to win it if they are to go to the World Cup. But look, at the end of the day, Sables, we wish you the very best of luck as you take on Cote d'Ivoire this week, and we'll be waiting, of course, to give analysis on those results. But now we are going to be taking a bit of a short break. When we come back, we discuss the issues around hockey. There were the under-16, under-18 inter-provincial trials for girls hockey at the St. John's Xtra Turf over the weekend. And my oh my, we had interesting results. Well, welcome back. Let's go straight into inter-provincial hockey trials. It was the under-16 and under-18 girls that were battling it out. Most of the provinces were there. Midlands and Masvingo were collapsed into Central Province. We also didn't have Manicaland Province, unfortunately, but I believe they were also then put into MCD, which is Mashonaland Country Districts, as well as Harare Province and Matabeleland. So there was some really good hockey out there for under 16 and under 18 girls, some competitive matches played, but there was history that was made as well. So Willow,
Yes.
History was made in the under 16 section because they were playing what was more of like a knockout kind of a competition.
Okay.
And Harare Districts C, a C-side, remember, this third tier, C-side, made it into the final against Harare Districts A. Harare District C, on its way, was able to knock out Matabeleland, Central Province, and MCD as well, on their way to meeting Harare A in the final.
Okay.
They get into the final, that match ends, one apiece, and then they have to go into a penalty shootout. I think one of the funniest things that I saw, but I understand why the girls were fretting. The coach asked, how many of you would want to take penalties? And the entire team said no. And the coach was like, okay, what do I do from that point? But in any case, history was made, Willow. And I guess it also begins to show that all these girls came through to put intensity.
Correct.
So at the end of the day, the match ended with Harare C winning on the penalty shootout 3-1. And Harare C beat Harare A. I'm sure right now you're opening your eyes and you're wondering, a third tier side beat the first tier side. How did that happen? Well, it happened quite easily, and they won. But in the under-18 section, it was Harare A clearly dominating against Matabeleland A as well, and they won because they had some really quality stars in there. But first and foremost, we get to hear from Carl Lapham. He is the coach for the Harare District A under-18 side, and he spoke about how important these trials are for the girls.
We're really chuffed about it. We had a tough semi-final that went down to penalty shootout, which we managed to scrape through. Coming into this game, we knew that we had a tough opposition. Matland's got some really strong players and some really quick players. Fortunately, we managed to get an early goal in, which sort of set us in good stead for the game. Matland kept coming at us. They had the opportunities. Fortunately, we managed to keep them out. For us, we're so grateful to be back jamming. It's been a long time that we've been out of the game. You can see how the girls are loving it, and it's not just on the field, it's off the field. You can see the camaraderie that's being built and just the excitement of it all. And it's been a great tournament. We thank everyone that's been involved. And I take my hat off to all the provinces that have made the effort to be here, and for just a great time. And thank you very much.
All right, maybe just one more thing before you do go. How much do you think this also means to the girls? We know that this effectively was a trial for them to make it for the Zimbabwe national team. How much do you think it means to them?
Oh, it means a great deal. I know for a lot of girls, this is what they strive towards. It's something that really means a lot to them. They put a lot of time into it. Their families make sacrifices, and it's such a great thing. There's still a lot to go on tomorrow in terms of possible probables, but I believe we're going to put a good side forward in terms of our national sides. The level of hockey has been brilliant, and that's great to see. And we hope to just keep picking it up from here. Hey? So really chuffed.
Well, congratulations, Coach. I know the celebrations might just go into the weekend and maybe into the week.
maybe. Yeah, we still got tomorrow to get through some possible problems, and then we'll see from there. Yeah.
All right, congratulations
Thanks
again.
So much, man.
Well, he did say that the level of hockey was brilliant, and that's all we can expect at an interprovincial trials, Willow.
Yeah, we are a side, a country that has been playing a lot of hockey recently. Our girls have been playing hockey, but I think it comes down the situation that you saw over the weekend. I think it's prevailing throughout all the sports, school sports in the country, where people believe that A school kids are always the best in sport, and the BC schools are not always the best. They don't have the good coaching. But when it comes to trials, we have to see talent. Mm-hmm. We expect everyone to have raw talent. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a case of how did we get to see a C team competing neck to neck with an A team when we've got another tire in between the B side. Mm-hmm. So it comes back to us saying we need to give the kids an equal opportunity when it comes to trials. Yes, we have A school leagues, B school leagues. That happens. It's normal in society. But when it comes to trials, let's give the children a fair chance to showcase their talent, because at the end of the day, we need the best sports person, and we need what's best for the country, because we are not going to play against, we are not always going to play provincial hockey throughout the year. We are going to play against other nations. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very important that you actually point that out, and I'm looking forward to some of the C team girls actually making it into the under-16 setup. But talking about a girl who is an absolute star in hockey, and I wonder how she does it, but she's quite phenomenal, is the 17-year-old Tinodiwa Naishe Elijah. Now, you may remember her name. She represented the Zimbabwe women's hockey team in the Africa Cup of Nations. She also traveled with the under 20, I believe, girls side that went down to South Africa in the Junior Hockey World Cup. And she is just an absolute star. Her quality of play is amazing. And I met up with her after winning that final for Harare District under 18A.
It was very tough, but we came together as a team, we played together, we worked together and covered up for each other's mistakes, so it was a good game.
All right, one of the players that you definitely had to watch out for was Kanyisile Mzizi. I mean, she was pulling strings in the middle of the park, but you totally shut her down in your match.
Definitely. We played together at the Junior World Cup, and she's amazing on stick work. She has amazing stick work, but we managed to work together in twos to be able to shut her down.
All right, one of the other things as well is the way that you are able to gel as a team. Coming through that penalty shootout in the semi-final must have been nerve-wracking.
It was, but I think because we had gelled so much as a team and we understood what each other needed to get through that stressful moment, we were able to do it and to give each other confidence to be able to do that.
All right, and finally, Tino, I know there's a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. You played with the women's hockey side and now also being considered for the under 18 side. At such a young age, how are you handling all of the pressure that is on your shoulders to perform at such high levels?
Luckily, I do not handle the pressure by myself. I do have a support system. My family is one of my biggest support systems, and they do help me so much. So it's not like I'm carrying the burden alone. So I do have my family.
One of the major things that you said, Willow, is that despite the fact that I've got so many responsibilities in the hockey world, my family is my greatest support system.
You know, it sounds like it's a cliche, because everyone always says, my family supports me, they give me everything. But to be honest, it's an important part of a sports person in terms of their growth, because family needs to be there for them to feel that, you know, when I was still in primary school, high school, just seeing my mother sitting there by the stand, it gave me extra motivation to say, no, I need to show her that I can do this. So it might sound like she's just saying it because everyone says it, but to be honest, it's a big step. So we need, us as parents, we need to support our children. We need to attend this. It doesn't just go by buying a hockey stick, buying boots for the game, but being present, being there, supporting her. It means a lot to the child.
So you hear, Dad, I could have actually been a cricket player. I played with Elton Jacobora. But in any case, I'll leave that one because, look, they were playing some professional cricket and, wow, I just couldn't make it, particularly with my belly. I don't think I would have made it in professional cricket here in Zimbabwe. But moving from that and talking about professional cricket, England is doing the business and they're about to wrap up the third and final test at Headingley, where Ollie Pope, Joe Root are just enjoying the pitch right now. But New Zealand, first and foremost, let's concentrate on them. They have just struggled, particularly their top order. We thought Devon Conway, who had a ridiculous World Test Championship, playing some really great innings, even in England, comes now and he's not firing. Kane Williamson, the man who we all believe is part of the top 4 batsmen in Test cricket, he's not firing. But it takes middle order batsmen.
You know, New Zealand, it's my second team.
Okay, who's your first? Zimbabwe? Or?
No, I don't support Zimbabwe. I love Zimbabwe. I support India.
Okay.
You know, I think it's a matter of transition. They're in a transition that we didn't expect it to be such a big issue. They have lost Ross Taylor, you know, so they have lost PJ Watlin. Those were their mainstays, and you know, with cricket, it's a season of form. Yes, Conway. I think the last series, it has been coming though. The last series was averaging 48. It's ridiculous, I know, but now he has ended this series averaging about 25, 26. So it's an issue of how do they pick up themselves. They need people to fill in the shoes of those that have left, and it's not an easy, because when you come in as a newbie, like when Conway came, you have the experienced guys around you. They tell you express yourself. You play 3, 4, you play 2, 3 series. Those guys are gone. You are now the man. It plays into your mind that you have to show the other incoming guys that I can support them. So I think it's an issue of, it's a transition period, as I said earlier. But I think New Zealand are very much comfortable and they are happy with Blundell. He has done really well. He has filled in the shoes of Watlin very well. I think he has gone for about, they've faced about over 1,200 balls this series with Mitchell. So they have got positives. To be honest, they have got positives.
They do have positives. I would just hasten then to say that for how long can you lean on Tom Blundell and Daryl Mitchell, in particular when you're going to be playing other test sides, because this is the World Test Championship. They are the champions, and you're most probably going to be going out to Rawalpindi at one point and you're going to face Pakistan. You're going to take on India in India. And we all know how difficult that is. With the performance that we saw, I'm sure even Sri Lanka will say we've got a shot at this and would want to come in.
Right now, every good test playing nation would say, no, we can take these guys on. It's a matter of trying to hope that Latham and Kane Williamson will get form. If those two just kick, I think they will go far. That's what they need. They're not in a dire situation. I wouldn't say they're in a dire situation. They just need one or two guys to come to play, then they're good to go.
All right, so let's shift from New Zealand and now look at England. And in particular, new captain, new coach, new lease of life, but important inclusions in the side are the two veteran seamers. That is James Anderson and Stuart Broad coming back into the side. How important do you think that was, particularly for a first series for Brendan McCullum taking over for England, to have those two in there?
Before, I always say that England are not a bad side, and what was lacking was just the motivational side. You would see how they presented themselves in the field. You would see how they tried to tweak their slip cordon. Nothing was working for them. Just a new lease of life, and they're back at their top. If you see on the first day at Lords, their slip cordon, I think it was Ian Bishop or something who said, no, there is a difference on the slip cordon. Just by looking at it, you see something has changed. And Stokes is aggressive. Baz is also aggressive. Everybody knows that. So that new lease of life, that new direction that they've taken, I think it is just taking them to a better stage. They are not yet there. I'll also say they are not yet there because they've got flashes of brilliance here and there. New Zealand has pinned them down on about two, three times, if I'm not wrong. So they still need to reorganize themselves as well. I think I would just add in that yes, Oli Pop has done good this series. He's on his way to another century if he can do that today. But he hasn't been comfortable on the number 3 position. If you look at his last scores, even when he was playing down the order, he was being questioned in December, does he deserve to play Test cricket or what? So I think he's a person that needs to improve as well.
Yeah, he will need to improve. At least he's got 142. That is working for him. So hopefully that will preserve his place. But of course, we'll be monitoring the action, and of course, we'll discuss other cricketing news that is happening, because I know India are in UK and they are wanting to go to England, so they could also be slain with the way that they are playing their test cricket right now, especially the last 4-day match that they played. Tongoti Mariwawe now. In any case, we come into the last segment. We'll be talking about transfer zone news. Who's going where and who wants to go where and who's struggling. Stay locked on. So coming back, we've just had some fantastic stuff just behind the scenes. So apparently I've got an Australian cricket lover, and he was just saying, I support a team that wins. And that's a little bit odd considering that they fell in Sri Lanka. But I know you would want to say a whole lot about that. In any case, let's talk about transfer zone news. Now, Indo Pererwa, particularly as a Manchester United fan, when Manchester United is struggling to get, imagine, okay, fine, players were Champions League teams, that's fine. They can refuse to come to Manchester United because we're playing Europa League football. But even backroom stuff, they are saying no, Avachanda. Willow, what's going on?
You know, it's a cycle. We have been there. I'm a Liverpool fan. I know we have been there before. When you have Roy Hodgson as your coach and everyone is saying, no, I can't play for this person. So it's an issue of direction, I would say. It's an issue of direction because you have to pitch your pitch to the person. Say, no, we want to move this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it seems like you guys are all over the place. You're panicking now. You thought your way back to the top was going to be smooth, but it's not, and you are now panicking. You are now just clutching at straws, trying to hold things all around. And it also goes back to the Glazers. They are busy chasing cricket teams around the world, trying to buy a franchise, and they're neglecting football. So at the end of the day, it becomes a tough job for whoever is in charge to recruit the backing staff.
But also then, let's look at things even more circumspectly. Manchester United, when it comes to spending, has not been a problem. We've spent almost $1 billion in the last 5 years buying players, but players that are not either suiting the system, what is the culture. We've been getting coaches. They've been listening to fans. No. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has won 10 games on the trot. Yet he's a man who got relegated with Cardiff City. We go and we get that guy because he's a Man United legend. So I hear your direction part, but if the money is coming and it is flowing, surely at that point Man United should not be struggling to get the top players.
I think it's also an issue of your own targets. You know, you are trying. I think it's always a disaster when a coach tries to recruit all his students. Ten Hag should just say no, leave Frenkie de Jong outside, don't go back to Ajax. Look, it has worked for Klopp. He left Dortmund and he left everything there. People gave us links, Mario Götze, Lewandowski, then we didn't do anything. So he needs to believe in himself that he can take, you know, Ajax is sort of an academy in European football. He's now at a football team. He needs to act like a manager who's managing one of the biggest teams in Europe. He needs to pull up his socks and get to the targets that will make him move forward.
Well, I definitely agree on that one. I do hope that he can get some targets. But let's talk about some of the other transfers that have taken place. Now, of course, some of the news coming out is that Gabriel Jesus is set to return from Brazil from his, season break and sign a deal with Arsenal up until 2027. How good a signing do you think that is for Arsenal, and generally how Arsenal has been doing their transfer zone business?
You know, credit to Arteta. He has the right targets for him. I would say he has the right targets for his style of play and the way that he wants to move with the club. Also credit to Arsenal, they've given him the backing. I would look, when he bought Ben White for 50 million, people were like saying, no, they're just spending. But coming into this window, you see that he has got a plan. Then talking of Gabriel Jesus, I would say everyone knows his strengths and weaknesses. It's all about what is the correct position for him. Everyone seems not to know. What is the correct position for him? Pep tried with making him a left winger. It worked. He scored goals. I think he went for about 5 games consecutive scoring. So if Arteta strikes the right chord, and I wouldn't go past saying Arteta has talked to Pep about this. You know, Pep asked for Arteta to be his assistant, teaching him how to coach. So I believe they still have that connection, and Pep would obviously help Arteta out with that one.
Oh yeah, wow. Look, I'm not so sure if he would want to help him out because, hey, who knows? Arsenal might beat Man City if he does. But I think also at the same time, we've also got the challenge with Mohamed Salah right now at Liverpool. He wants a hefty paycheck. Sadio Mane wanted a hefty paycheck and they decided to let him go. Are Liverpool putting out a statement that nobody is bigger than the team?
Definitely. Definitely they are.
This is a guy who has given you 30 plus goals in the last 3-4 seasons, guys. Surely give him the money.
You know what? It's business first before anything. It's always business first.
Yeah.
Salah deserves the big money. it's a no-brainer. He deserves the big money. But you also have a wage structure that has been working for you, so you want to keep it. Look, our highest paid player is about 220k a week, that's Van Dijk. So if Salah gets that 350 to 400, we have got Trent, who's about 23. He wants to renew his contract in about 2-3 years time. How much will you need? He has been phenomenal. How much will you need?
So well, look, how much are you giving him? Close to what, 90, 100?
No, I think Trent is now about 120, 125.
120, 125. You just give him 80 on top, 200.
That's the issue with Salah.
Yeah.
They told him we want to give you 15% rise, and he said no. So it's always going to be a problem.
Salah, find another club. Go somewhere else. Look, Sadio Mane made it, and he's now getting 200 and something plus at Bayern Munich. But we will be keeping our eye on the transfer zone and trying to see what will happen next. Whether Man United will finally get their first signing, or if they'll just recall everyone on loan. Donny van de Beek, bring them back. Anthony Martial, who seems to not have anybody who wants him right now.
You know, there's this other situation that we are ignoring. Chelsea. Chelsea is a special case right now.
Oh, yeah.
I hear they're trying to, the owner, Tom is now everything at the club. I think you saw the memes this other week. He's now the director, he's now the chief negotiator, he's everything. But I hear that he's trying to get a new director of football. Michael Edwards is leaving Liverpool this end of this week. So he's the other person on the list. Then we have got Matthew, the Brazilian, who was a deputy director at PSG. They're trying to get him. So if he can pull it off, because so far his targets are outrageous. How do you want to get Cristiano Ronaldo from? So he needs someone with the knowledge.
Yeah, with that now. I think trying to be an Abramovich before you even understand what Abramovich did and how he actually did it in order to make sure Chelsea remains afloat. But we'll also be keeping an eye on Chelsea, seeing whether they'll be successful there. There are also some players who might be a little bit disgruntled with the way that the structure is, but we'll see how that goes. Well, it brings us to the end of the show. My name is Ruimbo Chakureka, and of course, a great big thank you to my guest, Willow. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for calling me.
Oh, yes, and we look forward to you coming more and talking about a whole lot of sporting news. Make sure you do like, share, comment, subscribe to all of our social media platforms. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Sports Extra Zim. You can catch up with some of the stories that will be posting up there. And then, of course, if you want to catch up with all of our episodes and some extra features that we do, you can go onto our YouTube channel. That is Sports Extra ZW. And remember, the extra is without an E. Until next time, cheerio.